Good evening, Fort Collins. I'm Jackie Wilson, and you've just tuned in to CTV Talks. This week, we're getting to know a little more about the services that are provided for students with disabilities at CSU. And we might even meet some furry friends in training along the way. Then catch this week's weather updates with weather anchor Caitlin Connolly. But first, here at CSU, we have several resources for disabled students, and we also have our own Terry Schlichting here to tell us a little bit about what he does. Terry, welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Can you tell us a little bit about what your position is with RDA?
So I am an accommodations specialist, and what I do is ensure that there is equal opportunity for students with disabilities here at CSU.
And what kind of disabilities are we talking? Do we have a whole range?
So that can that's a wide array of disabilities that ranges anywhere from mobility impairments, hearing impairments, visual impairments, as well as learning disabilities, and even some emotional disorders.
Oh, that's great to know that we have such a wonderful service here on campus. And what kind of services are we able to provide?
Well, we have a variety of services. Probably our biggest service is our testing and accommodation, where students with disabilities can come and receive extra time on their exam and a quieter location. And if it's a student with a visual impairment, sometimes we'll get them set up with software where they can have their test read to them. We also put their tests in different formats, say if they need it in Braille or something like that.
Oh, that's very interesting.
And then we also have textbook conversions, so students with reading disabilities can then listen to their textbooks in, say, MP3 format or other software that's applicable.
Oh, that's great. And we see that you've also brought us some wonderful tools
Right.
to demonstrate.
I brought some toys.
So what is this toy? What
So
can you
that
do
is
with
a
this one?
handheld magnifier, and there's a variety of different magnifiers on the market. This is probably the easiest one to show on TV. And I'll just let you do a demonstration here, and
Alrighty. So we're holding this magnifier right over the book.
right, and as you can see, it magnifies the text, and that can also change the contrast to different colors.
Very nice.
Are we getting that?
I think so. Can you see that on there?
Because many students have difficulty with different color contrast. Some students need blue, other students need gray. One of the most difficult contrasts to see is actually black on white, and that's the most common.
Right. That's so interesting. Why is that so difficult?
You know, if I had that disorder, I could probably tell you,
That's
but
a good point.
it has to do with visual perception and processing.
Right. That's so interesting. And I know that it reaches kind of far beyond CSU as well. What do you guys do for the community?
Well, I myself have been involved in the community for a long time. I was the chair of the Commission on Disability for 4 years, and we did a variety of projects. One of our big projects was allowing wheelchairs to go in bike lanes, because that wasn't allowable prior to the ordinance being changed. I was getting pulled over on my way to school.
Oh my goodness.
So I worked with City Council to get that changed.
That's awesome. Way to go. That's really cool.
Thank you.
And I see we have some other interesting toys
Yes,
you brought
we
with
do.
us. Now, folks, this might look like an ordinary notebook, but alas, it is not. Can you tell us a little bit about this?
So what this is, and this is a LiveScribe pen and notebook.
Okay.
So when someone takes notes and they're listening to a lecture, they then can go touch where they stopped writing, and the pen records the lecture, and then if they go back and touch where they were writing, it goes back to that part in the lecture, so they can re-listen to that part.
That's so intriguing. And where would we be able to find these kinds of products?
There's a few internet resources. Mostly that's where I get a lot of the stuff I use. A lot of apps nowadays for tablets and computers are available for download.
And I heard we were discussing earlier an app that was available on your tablet. Can you tell us a
Right.
little bit about that?
I have an app called VoiceStream Reader, and that allows me to, first of all, I have my textbooks put in PDF, and I can listen to my textbooks. And they offer a variety of different voices. There's even accents if you're from a different country.
Or if you just really have a thing for British accents.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's great. And how would I be able to go take my textbook there and have it formatted?
Well, first you would need to come meet with one of our specialists, which would be me or one of the other ones. And then we would do kind of an intake appointment and assess your needs. And then if we deem it necessary, we can refer you to the Assistive Technology Resource Center, which is where I got these devices. They were nice enough to let me borrow these, and we can do a referral to them.
Oh, very interesting. And where am I supposed to find this building if I'm struggling, I need some help? Where can I go to find these resources?
Well, the ATRC is located in the 3rd floor of the Occupational Therapy Building, and we're located in 100 General Services Building.
Fabulous. Well, thank you so much, Terry, for joining us. It's been a pleasure
You're
having
welcome.
you.
My pleasure.
Information, you can call at 491-6385 or visit us at rds.colostate.edu.
Whole life, measured in seats, starts with the right ones early on. Car crashes are the #1 killer of children 1 through 13. Learn how to prevent deaths and injuries by using the right car seat for your child's age and size.
Welcome back, Rams. Has a furry animal on campus ever caught your eye? Well, some of these animals may just be pets, or they could be service dogs in training. Today with us in the studio, we're joined by Kathleen Ivy and Duncan. Kathleen, thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome. Thanks for inviting us.
So will you tell us a little bit about this little furry fellow?
Certainly. Duncan is still just a puppy, and that's what I have on his vest, and people are always saying, that's not a puppy. But he is. He's just 9 months old, and he will be getting a lot bigger, even though he's big now. He is being trained to walk with me and help with balance issues. Mobility dog is what he is called. And he wears his vest when he is working. So when he's working, people shouldn't just pet him. Actually, I don't let people touch him when he has got his vest on.
Right.
Because that helps him. I don't want him to get confused about when he's working and when he's not.
Definitely.
But
I mean, deciphering between work and play is hard enough as it is, right?
yeah.
And what kind of breed is he? I mean, he is quite large for a puppy.
So he is half black poodle. That's why he's black and curly, and he's half golden retriever. And that's part of why he's big. He has a square muzzle, much more square than a poodle, and much, much bigger feet. He has gigantic feet.
He does have some big feet. We'll get you some shoes for those, don't worry. And where did you find such a lovely service dog?
So there is a lady who works locally. She's just a little bit north of Fort Collins. She has Powder Valley Poodles, and that is who bred him.
Okay.
And she breeds for service dogs. So she works with the Halo Project, and she breeds for them. And her goal is to provide service dogs to people who have disabilities but are not visually impaired, because it can be kind of hard to get a dog for service if you're not visually impaired. It's hard if you are visually impaired, but if you're not, it can be very difficult. There's something he likes on the floor.
He decides to taste everything.
Yes.
Taste the
yes,
life,
he's
my
a puppy.
friend.
He's a puppy.
He's a little pooch. So talking about this training, I mean, he is a pup. This training must be quite difficult. How does he get this training?
Well, so I was fortunate in that I know a professional trainer, and we picked him up when he was 8 weeks old, and he was a lot littler than he is now. And she took him for 2 months and gave him all of his basic training. So he's flown with her several times, and he went to work with her all the time, and she worked in an office that had lots of people with different disabilities, so wheelchairs and crutches and just all kinds of different kinds of people. So he could get used to that.
Yeah.
And then also he's with me every day at Resources for Disabled Students.
Oh, that's great.
So he has a crate, and he stays there. And she taught him how to be in a crate for a long period of time and be calm and okay with that.
Wonderful.
But when he has his vest off, he's just a puppy.
Whole different animal.
He's a whole different animal.
Oh, he's just so adorable. And I heard you mention you do work at RDS. For those of us who are a little less well-versed, I guess, in the appropriateness, what is appropriate and inappropriate? I know you mentioned not being able to go up and just pet the dog. It's not an appropriate behavior. Is there some guidelines that we should know for future reference?
So if a dog, especially if a dog has a vest on, you should always ask before you would touch it. And most of the time the answer is probably going to be no, because the dog gets confused. It needs to know that it's working. It's good communication to have a vest for your dog, but it is not a legal requirement.
Or I guess, how many of the students on campus have service dogs? Do you think it's a large number?
Not a large number. We have a small number of students who use dogs for service, and a wide variety of service. Like Duncan is for mobility. There are dogs that work for seizure alert dogs. There are dogs for post-traumatic stress syndrome. There's a lot of different kinds of things that dogs can do for people. Then we also have a group on campus who they train dogs for therapy, and that's called HABIC, the Human-Animal Bond in Colorado, is what that stands for. And they take their dogs to schools and to hospitals and nursing homes, a wide variety of things. And with HABIC, we are having an event on December 11th and 12th in the Durrell Center, and it's called De-Stress with Dogs. And students can come and interact with the dogs and kind of get a little dog fix before finals week. Since so many students miss their dogs.
Sign me up. That sounds amazing. Yeah. And I know you mentioned that Duncan is a whole different animal when he gets his vest off.
Yes.
What are some of his favorite activities? Is he a big tug of war? Is he a fetch?
Yes, both of those things.
All of them?
Yeah, both of those things. And then I have a place where I take him that he can play with other dogs, because he doesn't have any playmates where I am. So he loves to roughhouse with other dogs. He loves other dogs, and all people. He's a very loving animal. So he likes wrestling, he likes playing fetch, he likes playing tug of war, he likes just running around the yard.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, he is so fabulous. Thank you so much for bringing Duncan in and for coming in yourself. It was wonderful having you.
Thank you for inviting us.
Of course. For more information about service dogs on campus, make sure to visit rds.colostate.edu/service and assistance animals. And now stay tuned to get your fall break weather updates from Caitlin Connolly. Thank you, Jackie. Good evening, Rams. We're in for a cold day tomorrow because it looks like there is a 100% chance of snow starting tonight and going into tomorrow. The snow is going to be anywhere from 1 to 3 inches, so we're not looking at much. Don't expect Tony Frank to be canceling any school over this. Friday and Saturday, it'll jump right back up to the high 30s, and by Sunday, it should be back to the high 40s. For those of you staying in Fort Collins for Thanksgiving, it should be a high of 48 degrees here with a 0% chance of rain. That sounds like a good day to play some football and have a turkey bowl if you're staying here with family and friends. For those of you who are going home this weekend in the Denver area, there's also a 100% chance of snow, but it will just be an inch, so don't get too excited. The rest of the weekend will be in the low to mid 30s with a 20% chance of rain on Friday and Saturday. If you're heading up to Vail, there is a 90% chance of snow tomorrow, and then it'll drop to 30% chance on Friday. Temperatures will rise going into the weekend to above 30, and there is a 20% chance of rain. In Colorado Springs, there is a lesser chance of snow with only a 70% chance tomorrow. And then the temperatures will rise to the mid to high 30s for Friday and Saturday. Experts are saying that it's about to start getting pretty cold for the rest of the winter here in Colorado. Up in Canada, there have been 40-degree temperature differences in a single day, and generally Colorado sees a lot of their Arctic front that moves in from the north. So that's it for tonight's weather, and if Chris Markle is watching, I'd like to know if you'd want to go to formal with me on December 7th. I hope everyone else has a safe and fun break. Back to you, Jackie. Thanks, Caitlin. It looks like it's going to be a chilly start off to our winter break, and have fun, Chris. Well, that looks like all the time we have for you this week. I'm Jackie Wilson, signing off for CTV Talks. Have a happy Thanksgiving and a safe break, Rams.